We are Heather and Paul Christie.
And for over 12 years, we've worked with executives and entrepreneurs to accelerate change in every aspect of their business.
Because we are in the fastest paced business environment that anyone has ever seen before.
So join us for the Evolve to Win show. Hi, and welcome to another Evolve to Win show with Heather and Paul.
Hey, I hope you're doing great today.
Heather.
What?
We're going to be talking about soft skills and hard skills today. A lot of people don't know what soft skills are or never really had a definition or had somebody explain it to them. A lot of us know what hard skills are, but some don't either. But we want to talk to you about why or how your soft skills can make your hard skills more valuable.
So if you think about this, you're right. The distinction between hard skills and soft skills is probably the place to start here. And the hard skills is everything that you can actually measure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's things like technical skills that you learn, whether that be in school or actually on the job, something that can be measured against a norm or a standard. So things like computing. Things like knowing the law, right? You can pass a test to know whether or not you've developed a hard skill. Computer programming.
Yeah. Total technical skill, total hard skill. Like you would never get hired to be a computer programmer if you did not know how to write code.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you'd never hire me to be a computer
Yeah,
anything.
me neither.
But think about that. Like think about some of the trades too. Your father was an expert in plumbing, right? And that was a very, a learned hard skill. Electricians, the guy who just fixed our air conditioner.
Yeah, accountants are great at understanding the tax laws and, well, maybe not laws, but
the code.
Yeah, the code.
And understanding how to keep their
So these are all hard skills.
Yeah, compliant.
So
yeah, when you think about the job that you have, all of those hard skills are the technical skills that you've learned that enable you to do your job. So now let's talk about what soft skills are. Soft skills are things like leadership. They're how you communicate with other people, how you work together with your team. And these skills, it's how you deal with your customers, as an example.
So I want to give you just an easy way to understand how soft and hard skills work together. So soft skills, think about a coach that maybe you had that when you were in school, either a teacher or a coach that you had. And for example, if it's a teacher like a math teacher may understand the technical parts of teaching math, like understand every equation and formula and all of that, and they just logically put it up on the board and that's the way they deliver it to you. The difference between that hard skill and then having a well-developed soft skill is that teacher, and I'm sure we've all had them, that the teacher knows how to communicate and connect with their students. So they're able to take that information and make it so that it's easily digestible for the student and really understands how to connect with each student in each separate way to make sure that they get the information that they need.
So they understand empathy. They understand people. They understand, where you are in the moment. So the word that you've used a couple of times now, which I think is the real key, is they connect. Mm-hmm. So think about that teacher. As you were describing the math teacher, I was thinking about my microeconomics teacher from college. Brilliant. Like no question in my mind that he was brilliant in microeconomics. And he never connected with, maybe he connected with somebody in the classroom, but I don't know who it would have been. Never connected with me, didn't connect with most, was so in his head about the topic he was teaching, just talked. And when we asked questions, he talked from a very left-brained, like analytical, here's the facts, here's the answer, but really didn't understand some of the frustration that we were feeling when we weren't understanding. Anyway, it was probably the most brutal class that I had in college. And if you ask me today what microeconomics is, I don't know. I think like small economics. I don't I was lost in that class. Now, what's really interesting is I think about some other classes. It wasn't just that I wasn't engaged in that topic, in that area, in that discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It had everything to do with the way that the course was taught, because I had another teacher who taught a course that at the time I really wasn't that excited about, but had to take. And he didn't even speak English as his first language. So he had broken English. This is Dr. Cornaros. You've heard me talk about him a gazillion times.
Mm-hmm.
He was so connected. He took such an interest in his students and where we were, and not only what we were learning in his course, but where were we headed in our future. This is a guy who took the time to get to know each of us individually. And I felt that he was taking an interest in my future,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't even really recognize at the time that's just who he was. And he was doing that with all the different students, but he made each of us feel special, and he was encouraging us. So there's this part of the soft skill too, which is being somebody who's motivational and who's inspiring. You know, when you think about those teachers who were amazing in your world, it wasn't always the topic, it was how they taught the topic.
Yeah. And, so I believe that as you're becoming an expert in a particular area of work, whatever that is, and I know this has happened to me as I've worked towards learning something that I want to get really good at. My personality doesn't come out to show up for other people until I feel like I have like a certain amount of expertise in that area. It's like where I feel comfortable, the confidence in it. And so I think what happens in a lot of cases that people need to learn more. They need to learn more about their subject so that they do feel comfortable about it, so that their true personality, and I guess personality is all subjective, because if you're somebody who just is,
if you're
just somebody who doesn't really get along with people, you're just going to show up that way to people. So developing that skill, that soft skill, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about soft skills versus hard skills. Hard skills being those technical skills, and the soft skills being how you present your material, your expertise. How do you interact with people and connect with them in a way that they understand what you are trying to accomplish, and how you can be valuable to other people in helping them develop as great leaders.
Yeah. So think about, so we've already kind of distinguished the soft skill and the hard skill,
Mm-hmm.
but let's kind of put it together. So imagine you've got a skilled surgeon who is, the best in his industry in terms of like, he's really, really technically skilled, but let's say he's got a short temper. Now I want you to think about how that might come across and how that could really actually challenge him or her, doesn't matter, how it could challenge that surgeon and really prevent them from doing the kind of job that they need to do. What if they're annoyed by their nurse during your surgery and they have a short temper? I don't want a surgeon with a short temper, right? Think about a real estate agent who is really, really bubbly and talkative and friendly, but they don't listen very well. That's going to really get you in trouble
Mm-hmm.
if you are trying to communicate the type of property that you're after and your real estate agent isn't listening. So the point we're trying to make here, and that I'm thoroughly, thoroughly convinced of, is that when you develop those soft skills, it actually adds a tremendous amount of value to your hard skills. And here's why. We right now in this age have really, really educated consumers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our customers, they do their research, so they're knowledgeable, they're assertive, they know what they want. And guess what? There are star ratings all over the place, right? And so if you have challenges with your soft skills, I promise you, those are getting written up these days on Yelp or on Google or somewhere. You're going to get a reputation. And so think about how important that reputation is. If you have done your work, like Paul said, you do the study, you learn the hard skill, you build and develop that confidence, you can put yourself up against anybody, and you can actually get the edge when you have fantastic soft skills. Why is that? Why would soft skills give someone an edge with this educated consumer world that we're living in?
Because they're going to be able to connect with them at a much higher level. They're going to be able to build trust faster with that person. They're going to be able to get them to like them and their company quicker.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be as offensive to somebody. They're going to know how to adapt to certain personalities and behavioral styles. I think it's always interesting when we work with companies And again, we're talking about soft skills and hard skills being those technical skills and the soft skills being, really the connecting and being able to deliver your expertise in a way that people really get. And we use the example of like great teachers. Great teachers that understand their subjects in total are able to communicate and touch each student in a certain way to make sure that they completely understand the subject. And I think what I was saying about when we work with companies is that, especially larger companies where there's, you get to the senior VPs and you get to CEOs, what you really recognize when you start working with those people is their high level of soft skills. They really, truly have developed those areas where they can interact with people. Like, you just like those people in a lot of cases, and you really get why they've moved up the ladder so quickly. So if you're looking to get promoted in whatever whatever business you're in, whatever position you have, developing those soft skills, you may be great at what you do, but the reason that you're not getting promoted as quickly as you like is because of the soft skills.
Absolutely. It's why Jim Rohn so brilliantly said years ago, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. I mean, that really is proof positive that, and look, I hear it all the time from disgruntled employees who didn't get the promotion, that the person who did was just a brown noser or was just, working the game, or it was all political. In reality, the person who got the promotion plays well with others and is a great communicator and is a great leader. So as you think about that next level, you want to become more marketable and make your hard skills more valuable, really start pouring into the development, which, by the way, let's just talk about how fantastic this is. Just like hard skills can be developed with practice, with effort, with study, so can soft skills. Mm-hmm. And what does it take, though? Soft skills, the development of soft skills takes a serious amount of introspection. So you've got to be willing to really, really take an honest look at yourself. I've worked with a number of different executives who have gotten to amazing levels within their organization, but they've been stopped from getting to the next level. We get brought in not because I'm helping anybody with a technical skill, because trust me, I'm not. Here and there we'll talk about general business skills, but the reality is they bring us in on the soft skill side. Mm-hmm. They help us to identify something specific within an individual. Usually it's habitual behavior. This individual, 100% of the time that we've come in, they know about the behavior. So it's not a lack of awareness, but what do you do with what you know? That's the key. That's the key to developing the soft skills. So not only do you have to be introspective, you've got to really be willing to look at your stuff, understand the impact that has on other people, and be willing to make a change. So it takes a level of commitment. It takes a level of honesty, even humility, like really looking at, where am I really being held back? What is that thing that I do that really is getting in the way of me working better with other people? What's getting in the way of my leadership? What's getting in the way of me being able to connect with my coworkers and or my clients? Yeah.
And again, so we're talking about soft skills and hard skills, those hard skills being the technical skills. Soft skills, difficult to kind of pinpoint, but one of the cool things that we have brought into our business is an assessment tool. And the assessment tool is called the TriMetrix DNA. And the DNA portion is really the personal skills. Mm-hmm. And what they've come up with, which is really cool, is 25 personal skills that they found in the workplace that are common across all workplaces. And when you take this self-assessment, it ranks you on whether you are well-developed or needs development, and then everything in between. And what's cool about that is that you don't really think about what soft skills are. Mm-hmm. And there are a list of 25 of them. A lot of them, are around coaching and and problem solving and listening, and mm-hmm. there's
decision making.
Yeah, all of these. And so if you don't really know where you need to start or where you need the most development, or maybe there's some out of the 25 that aren't as important in your position that you have right now, but and maybe there are some other ones that you're not that developed in, but if you could develop those, how great would it be, and how quickly would you get promoted in a position and making more money, maybe being happier in your position. It just gives you a lot more opportunities.
So that, yeah, I found that one really interesting. And it's so great to be able to even look at that kind of assessment in terms of, okay, we're hiring for a new position. And before you even think about talking to candidates, you look at those 25 skills and you say, okay, what are the skills we really need for this position? What are the not negotiable skills?
Right.
So that once we find the candidates, obviously, when you're interviewing a candidate, it's kind of like going on a date where somebody puts on their best face, right? Best foot forward.
Well, also, not only that, but resumes. Now, come on. I know, like one of my friends' wife writes resumes for people, and she can make anybody look fantastic.
Amazing.
So resumes are just kind of hard to go off of. I mean, you just really have
It's
to
a
be
marketing
looking,
tool.
it's a total marketing tool.
Yeah.
And so are the interviews.
And by the way, let's talk about how good soft skills are for an interview.
Yeah, right.
When you're awesome at soft skills, you can kind of fudge some of that technical skill you're missing because you get along so well and you walk out of that interview and everybody loves you, right? But going back to this concept of, one of the reasons they call soft skills soft is because they're more difficult to measure. Like hard skills, concrete. But more and more, there are assessments out there that really help us to kind of figure out where somebody falls. So imagine you've got these 25 competencies or personal skills, and you've said, okay, these 3 are not negotiable. Now we're down to our top 2 candidates, and we want to see how they do on the 3 not negotiable skills. Well, if these 2 candidates are otherwise neck and neck, and then we look at how well developed they are, and we've got one candidate that's over in the well developed on all of them and many others. And then another candidate is sort of moderately developed or even needs development. All that tells us is we have a choice now. We have an understanding. Here's where we've got some work to do from the very get-go, which is excellent because first it helps us choose the right hire, but also think about this. If you have somebody who otherwise checks every single box, but let's say that decision-making is one of the most important skills that they bring and they need development there, that is an onboarding plan that you start with immediately and you come up with the practical steps, which by the way are part of this assessment. Practical steps for how can we start developing this person in that particular skill set. So it's not always about, oh, okay, this one's better than this one because they scored here. That might actually show up very clearly what you didn't see during the interview process. But also just really opening our eyes to, okay, where do I need to develop and what are my strategies to develop in those areas?
Yeah, and this is so important for, our last podcast we did on, didn't we do it on students graduating college and going into the workplace and really finding them, right?
Yeah, the workplace.
And how important it would be to start working on your soft skills out of college, like really understanding the type of work that you want to do, the career that you want to have, but then what are some of the soft skills that are absolutely going to be necessary in that work environment? And if you could start developing those, how much more marketable would you be? How much quicker would you move up the ladder?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Gosh, I never thought about that. Now, I spent a lot of time developing soft skills in college when other people were developing their technical skills. So I don't know, did that give me a leg up? But it certainly helped me in interview situations, right? So you know what? It's a little bit of both. It's both of those skills are absolutely necessary. But as Paul said, if you're focused on developing that technical skill and you've got a level of competence and confidence, then you really, really start moving towards the, the focus and the intention of developing you. And God, this is why I love our business so much, because I know for a fact that anybody who intentionally says, I want to develop in this area, it is absolutely doable. There's nothing holding you back. There's nothing holding anybody back from developing as much as they can in the area of soft skills. And that is, quite honestly, these days, a unique selling proposition.
Yeah. And one last thing I just want to touch on. If you're a business owner or you're leading an organization and you have someone on your team or you have multiple people that are on your team that are great at the hard skills. Remember the hard skills being the technical skills. You're like, they're awesome at what they do, but they do not play well with others. For whatever reason, their soft skills, they need some development. If that's something that, or somebody that you have on your team that needs that, definitely reach out to us. You can either send it by Facebook Messenger or you can send us an email.
We'll point you in the right direction, get you some resources that can really set you up for success.
Because
because
most people will not get fired for their technical hard skills.
No.
They'll get fired for those soft skills that they just don't get along, that they just don't play well, that they don't do what's necessary for, they're low skilled in that.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I'm just thinking about one of the clients who I'm working with now. Amazing employee, unbelievable hard skills, has developed a lot of the soft skills, by the way, but there's one issue where she really, really needs development. And to think about the fact that if this company hadn't invested in her to develop in that area, what would have happened is she would have been terminated and they would have lost all of that technical expertise, the time with the company, everything else. So part of it's just willing to, be willing to make an investment in those who have that technical skill set. It's the soft skills that make the hard skills more valuable.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the Evolve to Win show with Heather and Paul.
If there's someone who needs to hear this message, please share this message with them. And if you haven't connected yet, please go to LinkedIn or heatherchristie.com and join our leadership list. Hope you have an awesome rest of your week.